Yo, welcome back to the shout out. You got Danny and Dan here, and today we have Jay and Luke from Skinflowers. Guys, how are you doing? Thank you for coming on.
Excellent, yeah. Nice one, brilliant. Lovely to be here.
Pretty good for a Thursday night.
Not too bad. Thank you so much for coming on your Thursday evening. Dan loves to get a metal band on the podcast because he knows I know absolutely nothing about metal. Gonna learn something today, hopefully. But before we do that, we're gonna hit you with some quick fire questions.
Yeah, I'm going to start with you, Jay, as you're on my left, and then Luke will be second. We've got three each. They're not too hard. Jay, what was the last song you listened to?
That is a hard question because I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I was listening to Carcass all day today.
Cool.
Carcass. I love the band name, man.
Luke, what is your dream venue to play in?
Oh, dream venue. Do you know what? I'd love to play Download. Like any stage.
Any stage, yeah.
Don't mind. Just get me there.
Love it. Have you been before?
Oh, mate, every year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably a silly question.
Not playing, obviously, but
not
going as a fan. Not yet.
Jay, if you could create a festival, what three artists or bands would headline?
Well, I'm biased towards like some quite old school stuff, so I'd probably have Iron Maiden.
Awesome.
Probably Megadeth as well, and probably Skinflowers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yourself. We love it.
I always have to remind bands like you can take a slot. You can do a Sunday. Love
Wicked.
it. Love that. Luke, what is your dream artist or band to support on tour?
Oh, that is a really good question. I mean, I don't think our band would really be going for the my old pop punk roots because I used to be a massive Blink-182 fan and stuff. Nice. I don't think we'd be quite their scene. Yeah. I think at the minute, like we've probably like a Spirit Box or something. Like I'm repping the t-shirt at the minute.
Yeah.
So that's the first one that came to my mind.
Nice.
But other than that, like maybe like even like a Bring Me the Horizon or a Sleep Token. You know what I mean? Yeah. So something like that. That'd be mega, I think.
Yeah, cool. Nice answer. Jay, what is your favourite artist or band no one's heard of before? So like a smaller band that you think people should check out.
I suppose they're not small, but one of my favourite bands that's got me quite through. I can't speak today. One of my favourite bands that's got me through quite a lot of bad times is a Pale Horse Named Death. It was one of the ex-members of Typo Negative's third band, I think it was. Okay. And it's very miserable stuff. But I think more people should listen to miserable music.
I agree.
That's the thumbnail.
Yeah.
To be fair, with that question, it's not hard to find a band in that genre that I haven't heard of before.
Luke, you get an easy one to finish it off, but it's important. Audi or Lidl?
Audi or Lidl? Well, I'm biased because there's a Lidl right next door to my house, so I go there all the time, unfortunately. However, Aldi has better meat, so...
Yes. Jay, if you were to be asked that question, would you be Audi or Lidl?
Lidl's got better veggie stuff, so...
Okay.
Oh, is that a thing? Is there a meat veg divide in the Audi?
Apparently so.
Wow. There actually is, like, genuinely there is. Like, it is better veg at Aldi.
I had no idea. I am a Lidl man through and through. I don't really.
What you want is the best of both worlds. You want a really good Morrison's with a kitchen street in, because then they've just got everything you need.
Yeah.
We don't really get Morrison's here. I don't know where my nearest Morrison's is.
You are missing out.
Yeah.
You have to move up north.
Yeah. So this is our first ever Scouse band. You guys are from Liverpool, the surrounding area. Correct.
Yeah, I currently live in Manchester, but I am 100% from Liverpool.
Wicked, cool. This is fun. So let's talk about the music first. I'm not very good at describing the genres. You describe it as kind of genre blending, alt metal. For people listening, especially for maybe people who aren't really who don't know a lot about the genre, why don't you just give us a quick description of what your sound is and who you are as a band?
Yeah, I mean, our sound, it evolves quite regularly as well, but from track to track. Yeah. For example, the next track that we're working on, which is going to be the next release, is it almost takes from kind of new metal / argent metal vibes. Mm-hmm. So a lot of work with synthesizers and stuff, and a bit of Mick Gordon influenced in that, from like the Doom soundtracks and stuff like that. But at the same time, like at the core, where heavy, hard hitting drums. Nathan's like a kind of very heavily influenced by like gospel and stuff. So he brings a lot of different grooves to the table. Like say heavy guitars, bit ethereal, and just kind of like we try to work in a lot of stuff like piano and orchestral, very kind of Evanescence style stuff as well, because Adara is an excellent pianist as well. Cool. So we try and work in those kind of elements as well where we can. So it's it kind of be a bit of mishmash of everything.
You do, when I've listened, so I have been listening to bits of your discography in preparation for this, and you do manage to keep switching the sound up as you keep releasing new music. Does that difference in sound come from different band members' influence? Like, how do you write these songs and keep the sound fresh as you keep making
100%. Like I said, Nathan, he's not just a drummer, he has a lot of input, and he's
right.
Before he joined us, he wasn't really like into lots of metal, but ever since he's gone on his own journey of discovery with metal, he's come up with being like, oh, this band and this band, we pull from a lot of influences, and we all have different like favorite bands and stuff, so we all bring something to the table, as it were, in terms of how stuff maybe should sound or what we want to pull from. And so it is, but at the core, like I said, we kind of try and, even though we experiment a bit, we try and keep like a through line and a theme of whether it be like ethereal type lyrics, or like I say, the piano and orchestral elements, or like I have a lot of tricks on the guitar that I kind of maybe will throw in that might like glue each track together and be like, oh yeah, okay, if that's the Skinflower sound.
Yes,
so that's kind of what we go for.
I was saying
I think it's sorry.
No, go on.
I think it's quite important as well to not restrict yourself to taking influence from one particular genre or one particular band, because it limits yourself. Then you're like quite limited then in what you can and can't explore. So I think it's good really to have such a wide range of influences and a wide range of favorite artists that members have, because you're not limited then, and you can pick and choose from whatever you feel like.
That does come across in your music as well. That's what I thought was really cool about it.
We've yet to do the Iron Maiden gallop, so I do apologise, Jay. But
I'm fighting it. I am fighting it.
One day.
I was happy you said Spirit Box. I was saying to Dan earlier, like there was so many different bands that were popping up in my head, and the two I noted down were Korn and Spirit Box. In terms of like rhythmically, especially Korn was what I came out of. I don't know if anyone's a big Korn fan in the band, but
oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen them a few times.
It was nice that you said Spirit Box, but there's so many different influences, and it's cool you now said you're branching into like synths and stuff like that, because the reason I like metal music, there's so many subgenres into it, but so experimental as well. I feel like a lot of genres don't want to push themselves to try different things, but in metal it's kind of like, let's just see where this takes us, and at the end of the song you'll find out how you feel.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you look at some tracks as well, like you look at President, for example, and they there's some songs there, and you're like, this could be played in, a club at 3 a.m. in, a city centre with, 1,000 people in, and no one will bat an eye. But that's only if you take the metal guitars and maybe the headphones out. All it takes is to, layer something over like that, and you're like, oh, well, that's a lot of band sounds these days. So it kind of it is trying to go more mainstream, and you have people like Bring Me the Horizon and Sleep Token to thank for stuff like that. Really kind of, genre blending in that way.
It feels like, from what I've learned about interviewing bands of different genres, metal, at least the creating of the music, the writing of the music, it is very collaborative compared to other genres. Do you think that's true?
I definitely think that's true. I mean, all you have to look at is, I saw literally today that I think Knocked Loose and Katy Perry are getting together to do a tune, to do like a reimagining of one of their tunes. And you can definitely see that people are jumping on that particular bandwagon, because with the success of like, Evanescence is getting a revival. She's just done a song with Courtney Love, Courtney the Plant from, not Courtney Love, from
that'd be cool.
Box, and also Poppy as well. Poppy used to be literally a pop princess, and now she's gone straight like all the way into, screaming on it tracks and big, heavy, like almost like Japanese inspired metal.
Mm-hmm.
So it is creeping into the mainstream. I think it is becoming more of a thing, and it's not just an outsiders genre anymore, really.
Yeah.
We actually asked the last interview we did this. Last interview we asked this question. I really want to ask you guys specifically: when you are writing music, are you thinking about this is going to sound awesome live, or do you kind of have a separate mindset for writing and then the performing?
I think at the minute it's very, it is a bit separate.
Yeah.
But I think you always have to, think of, right, can we do this live? How are we going to do this live? How is this going to translate over? Is the energy going to be there in this track or whatever? Like, again, this next one, we basically wrote it with that in mind of like, we want a high energy in the club kind of, feel to the track, so that when we do perform it live, hopefully limbs will be flying. So
yeah, there must be a thing with the like kind of organs and the extra sounds that aren't a bass or a guitar. Like that must be a thing, especially when you're starting out. How do we get this to come across well live? Is that something you have to work through?
Yeah, but these days the amount of bands and stuff that have work to tracks and stuff.
Yeah,
we try and limit ourselves to as little as possible on the tracks. But sometimes you can't have an orchestra.
You can't have an organ there.
Yeah. So
not with that attitude.
Maybe one day when it's main stage,
Yeah,
when it's main stage download and we can afford to hire an orchestra and stuff. Then,
Royal Albert Hall with what Bring Me the Horizon did back in. It was like
Exactly.
2015, wasn't it? That was cool.
Exactly. So you have to kind of rely on stuff like that, and I think that's fine as long as it's complementary and it's not, it's not kind of that's all that you're relying on, and you've not got your own instruments or whatever to actually be able to play, because that's what people want to see live. They want to see musicians playing.
So you talk about live. Describe a Skin Flowers gig for the people listening. What's it like?
Is it limbs flying everywhere?
On the odd occasion, yeah. I mean, Jay, what would you think? You know what I mean? We've been gigging for about a year or two now with you.
Yeah. When it's not rammed. There's sometimes a bit.
Yeah, we have had the odd tune that's very much a chill kind of light us out type thing. So it's I think every gig has to be a show these days, and we have our own certain style, and it's very kind of atmospheric, and we don't say loads, but we make sure that we give absolutely everything when we're playing the tunes. And I've come away from gigs knackered, sweating, and just thinking, yeah, that was amazing. That I love that, but might not have said 3 other words to the crowd, but we've given it our all.
Do you gig a lot? What's your schedule looking like?
Our schedule at the minute, I mean, our last gig it was like the back end of last year, like just after the I think it was before our last single, actually, purely because we wanted to focus on writing and recording, which is what we are doing. And I got married, I went on a big honeymoon and stuff, so we kind of took a break. Thank you very much. And because we're a DIY band and we do all the production ourselves and stuff, things just take a bit longer.
Do you?
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
For example, like I produce and record, and like basically we do it all ourselves.
Sounds incredible.
All get in a room. Oh, thanks. Yeah, a lot of
and
time
I provide
research.
the comedy.
You absolutely do.
I just turn up, do nothing.
You got some ripping bass lines,
fart jokes.
That is the most important thing about any band.
Yeah.
I love that. Really quickly, while we're on this, should we just shout out what you guys do and then shout out the rest of the band members?
Sure, yeah.
If you haven't done that yet.
Jay?
I am Jay, and I allegedly play bass.
Allegedly.
and do fart jokes.
Still trying to figure out who's doing that.
Yeah, I'm Luke. I'm a lead guitarist. I provide all the screaming vocals and basically our in-house recording engineer and producer.
But so you're quite a busy man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so there's 3 other band members, correct?
Yeah. So obviously we've got Nathan, who I've already mentioned, who is our drummer.
Yeah.
We have Pat, one of my oldest mates. He's on the other guitar. And then we have Adara, who is our front woman lead vocalist.
Awesome. How did the band form in the beginning? Who was the kind of...
It was a bit of a COVID project, and it was me and my mate Pat wanted to start a band, and originally we were going to do like a kind of a Day to Remember type thing, very kind of like heavy pop punk, or as it were. And we were looking for a singer, put an advert out online, found Adara, and then she kind of brought her influences to the table, what type of stuff she wanted, and we thought, okay, let's work with this. And it just kind of progressively, we got a bit heavier and stuff. We did have two other band members, but they ended up leaving, and we basically did another kind of, call to action, call to arms, as it were, out on Instagram and stuff. And we found Jay and Nathan, and they've completed the puzzle, as it were.
Love it. That's great, man. And like, you guys are obviously going from strength to strength. You're doing so well at the moment, but you mentioned that you have a new single in the works. Can we get any, we love an inside scoop here on the shout out. Can we get any idea as to when that might be coming out?
Hopefully within the next month or so. We just needs to go to final touches in the next mastering process and stuff, and we want to get all of our ducks in a row before we do release it. But it should be a really fun one.
Totally. Nice. Are there any what can we expect for the rest of 2026 from Skinflowers?
It's going to be quite busy, isn't it, Jay? I mean, we've got a lot lined
headline
up.
in August, hopefully.
Sick.
Nice.
Well. Yeah. We kind of we've never realised we never did a headline hometown show, so we thought we need to do that first and foremost before anything else. And then we do have a few other things in the pipeline, but we're not quite at the point where we can announce them just yet. So hopefully it's going to be definitely a bit of a busier summer and a busy back end to the year.
I'm hoping one of those includes the word London, so I can come and throw my arms around.
we have been asked to play a few venues in London, so we'll just try and pick the right date, and it's in the works.
Keep us in the loop, man. We want to know.
Absolutely.
Wicked. Thank you so much. I think it's time to put a song on the playlist.
Yes. So we have a shout out playlist where every guest that's come on, it's across loads of genres, has put one of their songs in, and it's quite a nice community. People listen to each other's music. So what song of yours would you like to put in the playlist to best represent your band?
It's probably got to be Endymion at this point. I mean, it's our most successful one today. Either that or Watch Me Break. I mean, they're two of our favourite tunes. Yeah. I'd say they're two of the most successful tunes. So I'd say either one of them. So decide and vote, Jay.
Go on, Jay.
Oh yeah, go for it.
It's got to be Endymion, hasn't it?
Nice.
Put it in.
It's got to be. That's our sound.
Yeah. It's awesome. I can't wait to hear the new single. Really excited for that. I just have one more question for you guys, if that's okay. Can you please shout out a band or artist to come on the next episode of the shout out?
There's a band that we played with not so long ago. Actually a little while ago now, but they're really great people. They're an amazing live act as well. So for me personally, it'd probably be a band called Giant Walker.
Giant Walker. Awesome name. Oh my God, I'm going to write that one down.
Giant Walker. I found them. Yeah, here we go. Cool. Nice.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. We're really excited to see what you guys get up to in 2026. And we love the music. We're going to keep up to date with everything. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching this episode of The Shout Out with Danny and Dan and the guy from Skinflowers. They've got so much more coming this year. Stay tuned. We've got even more coming. 2 episodes a week. It's all happening. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Peace.
Au revoir.